Hi everyone, I'm Anya.
And I'm Kimberly.
And this is Floored, our new podcast series with authentic stories from the nest floor. This is very exciting. I'm sitting here with Kimberly staring at this big thing called a microphone, ready to record our first episode. When Kimberly was sharing once again the most beautiful stories about the nest, I stopped her in her tracks and I said, Kimberly, these stories need to be shared with all of us. And so, Floored was born. And here we are, sitting in front of a microphone, ready to share with you real stories from the floor at the nest. For those who are new, the nest is a kindergarten in Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. And in New Zealand, a kindergarten is for children between 2 and 5. And the nest, that's not just another kindergarten. It is a kindergarten that is so beautiful, I can't even describe it. But it's well known for its beautiful indoor and outdoor environment. And not just that, it's also known for its cutting-edge relationship-based practices. Practices that are based on love and kindness. But actually, nothing describes the nest better than the question a little girl asked her mum one day. Mum, why do they love us so much at the nest? We will share that answer through our weekly stories. Who are we? Kimberly and I are both early childhood teachers who've been working with young children and families for decades. Pickler trained, Montessori trained, mainstream trained, and our most important training, life, and our most important teacher, our heart. And with this podcast series, we want to put the heart back into teaching and put people over paper. Yes, people over paper. And play over programs. Play is not only the work of the child, it's also a children's right. And with this podcast series, Kimberly and I want to touch your heart with stories from the floor that champion the child, the teacher, and the family. Welcome to Floored.
Who doesn't love a good story? I've been teaching for many years now, working with early childhood teachers, and often I'll see someone that I haven't seen for ages, and they'll say to me, do you know what? I'll never forget that story you shared. It's always the stories that I share that people say they remember, because the story is often shared with the heart, and there's so much more emotion with a story. So Anya and I are planning to share stories that will inspire you and touch your heart. Some stories may be from yesterday. Some stories could be from a week ago. There are still some stories from a year ago that are so worth sharing. Now, just to begin with a tiny little story. I met Anya through a friend, and she said to me, you've got to meet her. She's a pocket rocket. She's like you. She's got a centre that's not like a centre. It's absolutely cutting edge and different. She's got a different way of being. She said, you guys have got to get together. So that we did. And that now, I can't even remember how long ago it was, but from the moment we met, the story began. And here we are years later, and we're still telling stories. So I trust you will join us from our story bank to your heart. We begin.
Subscribe in your favorite podcast app, and while you're there, floor us with an upbeat comment. The Floored podcast music is by Camille van Schoonhoven. You can find us on hartschool.nz and kimberlycrisp.com.